What is up, people? This is a tutorial for request by Cisco Lopez right here. He said, do you think you can make a tutorial on Rekoil's machine gun base? Like the one from his song Fortress. That is exactly what I did. Recoil Fortress. Like this exact song right here. The original. Now obviously this isn't the same. Sure, he probably used a tad more distortion, but I don't have very many distortion plugins. If it's like a homicide or whatnot to get this sound, I'm sure it would help a lot more. That crunch, but I did use Bit Crusher, maybe a couple other. Put out the low because we paired it with a sub. Bit Crusher, a reverb, which is no room size at all, and the wet is about half of the dry. I just did this to make it seem a little bit wider because it seemed pretty wide, but it was like I had like a really short piece, just a K kind of delay on it, like bounce a little bit more, but like bigger, just wide, more like a dimension. Then I used the imager to make it wider, like it was in the actual song. That is the This is the crunchy part. And then we have a sub. It's hard to hear, but you have the right headphone. Real punchy, low, kind of plucky sub. Main sound obviously is made in Massive. We're gonna get right on that. Catch it here. But one thing I want to say before I actually do this, I use the exact patch that I used for my other machine tutorial, and I just want to say that if you guys are watching my tutorials, don't just think you want a sound. Say I made the barely alive growl, someone wants another barely alive growl, but so close that it's like literally just tweaking one knob. Like if I could just ask you guys to just actually try and do something, I mean not to be rude, but do something for yourself and like try to get the sound on your own with just even using the patches you already have, because some of the stuff out here is all of the same like patches just reworked and tweaking a few knobs, and because most of the stuff obviously there's lots of combinations in here that you can have, but it doesn't take uh, very many different combinations to get the same sound. um, so I just wanted to say that because this synth is literally almost exactly identical. There was just a few things that I changed. Save this as coil base, recoil machine gun base. Open it up so I can get guys going. Alright, so obviously just like the other base, this is touchy, um, very touchy in fact. I don't know if it's going to be as touchy as the other one was, but I know it will be touchy because it is still the same patch. But basically for this synth, all we need is oscillator 1. We don't need the noise. Actually, my bad. You need the noise. Color up right about there, and amp just a tad. We don't need too much. Just so that when we add a little bit of distortion, it kind of makes it a little bit crispier. Just gives it a little bit of more of a distorted sound to it without actually harming, I guess, the harmonics, making it sound like a distorted snare kind of sounds. Harmonics, but whatever. We do need the position, phase, and ring mod for this, so we're going to turn all of these on. Position goes on third oscillator, like that. Now for the position knob, really don't need any of this. I mean, just a tad. I mean, literally like nothing much at all actually. Phase. I want to get this perfect for you guys. Phase just up a tad. 0.04 is good for there. Tell me that looks about right, if not a little bit more. And then ring mod is going to be the main thing going on here, and we're going to turn that right past 12. Now for your first oscillator, probably should have done this first, but it is the same as the other one, I assume, but it is a grown 3. It's probably one of my most favorite oscillators, and it is a bend minus. Now, just like the original bass, I had an LFO, which I then turned to a former, just like that, on the pitch, and it was pitched down 64, or actually up 64 semitones, or I think that's what, 4 octaves? I don't know, maybe it's 6. But whatever, we basically just took it down to 36. It was less, I guess you could say, lasery. That last one was more like a laser bass, I guess. Kind of. But then I turned the wavetable position just right about there, just past, in between 1 and 12, or I guess on 1, I guess you could say. Put your LFO on there and just drag that wavetable position so that it's facing just below the 12 o'clock. Put it on the intensity as well. And take your intensity just before 12 and maybe drag that down so that it's facing 11 or 10 o'clock. Move your amp all the way up, leave this exactly where it's at, because the serial parallel, that straight in the middle, actually. Yeah, that's right. We're going to use a comb filter, filter 1, take the pitch straight into the center, assign our performer, drag that just above 3 o'clock, and then damping all the way down, feedback all the way down, volume all the way up. Now for the second one, we can leave that last knob, the resonance bottom, after I pick up. Resonance can be all the way down. We're going to turn the volume for that, or the gain, all the way up. And then cutoff can be facing the C. Take your performer, add that, and drag it all the way to the bottom. Add just above it. Yep, right there. Now our bandwidth is going to be just below 12 o'clock. And that looks to be like we're almost done. So insert 1 is going to be a sine shaper. The reason I picked a sine shaper is because I've just learned through other people's teachings and my own experience as well. The parabolic shaper is like a much more natural sine wave, I guess. And the sine is a more harsh kind of shape. So we're going to pick the sine shaper because we want it super crispy, super distorted, all that good stuff. Turn the dry wet just below 12 o'clock, and then the drive just below 3 o'clock. Now for insert 2, we're going to use a parabolic shaper because we don't need as much distortion this time. So we're going to be picking it just up above 12 o'clock, like so, and the drive will be just below 12 o'clock, like so. Now we're going to go into our voicing tab. We're going to choose 2 Unisano. So, turn none of this on. If you want, you can choose pan position and make it a little bit wider, but we're using Ozone 5 imager for that. So we do not need any of this panning position or whatnot. And then actually one more thing that I did. No, actually I didn't do it in this. Good. Turn EQ on. It'll be the same as the other one, except for this is going to be a different position. Performer right there. spacing just maybe 10 o'clock, maybe 9:30, I don't know. Then drag this up just so it's below 12. So high shelf is brought down just a tad because we're going to be adding a little bit more distortion later, and that's going to bring out the highs a ton. We're going to turn the boost down just so it's just below 9 o'clock. Just above 8. I like to put that, but it is there like that. Bring our master gain down a little bit because it's getting pretty loud at the moment. Oscillator, you can turn your time all the way down. So actually restart via gate is on. Don't get any weird like differences every time it hits. Okay, that sounds. To load the curve, we're going to turn on sync. I put it at 1/12. Best for off. Okay, so that is the sound so far, and I'm going to route this to the exact same. Explain everything I did with you guys. Oh, my bad, my mistake. Go in here to mix 1 and 2. Your fifth, this 5. Take that all the way to the top. Check to make sure you have everything right. Pitch just a tad. Again, this is a very touchy patch. Get the exact sound. But a lot of the stuff that you could do with the patch is really essential, I guess. A lot of different stuff that can be integrated into a lot of different sounds. Any of these other famous producers out there like me. Oh, my bad, I'm a complete idiot. But if any of these other famous producers out there like me, then they'd probably use like multiple patches, just experiment around with them before they start making stuff. It leads to a lot of new sound. A lot of the basics are there. The filters maybe for the vowel sounds. Integrating different wave tables can give you a lot of different sounds. Anyways, we're going to choose a classic 2 right here. And we are going to turn the dry wet just above 12 o'clock. Turn the drive down just a tad. Right there. Dimension expander, and this is not going to be much at all. In fact, the size is going to be almost all the way down. 1 notch above, and then the dry wet can be just below 12. Should give you the sound. Okay. Oh, my bad. Fuck here. Okay. Load curve. Use this very last one at the bottom left. Take that. I think. Okay, so that's the exact sound. I guess it's not too much touchier or as touchy as the last patch. This I use this, I guess, base patch for. But there's definitely a lot of stuff that about I did different, not wrong. I mean, I won't copy the sound exactly, but different's good. You know, you don't want to be using the exact same sounds as anyone, because then, oh yeah, you sound like Rekoil, you sound like Zomboy, which is sound like Zomboy. But you know, if that's what you want to sound like, then go ahead, copy exactly. So just 2 voices. Pause the video here. I'll just leave it a few seconds so you guys can pause it. It's kind of annoying switch past to. They're like, here, just copy it, and then they switch over, you know. But anyways, you can just pause it here and check everything out, make sure it all looks good. All this, and then the routing, which I'm practicing, is voicing later, great, all that good stuff. Classic tube, all that good stuff. So now, show you what we did in the chain. We just cut out just most of the bass, the 100 hertz area, and then we started to roll off everything up until 1K, about that range. Basically, because without this, here's tons of mud down the low end. Really doesn't hold up well through all these plugins. So just got rid of this all that mud down there. You can see cutting all that off down there and pulling off some of this low end resonance. Makes the sound a lot cleaner, a lot sharper, and it just sounds overall a lot better if you just layer it with the sub, which most, not all of your sound does. Graded sub is never layered sub back to filters and distortion and whatnot, which like you get on a lot of stuff. But anyways, so we EQ'd out the lows and the low mid resonance. Took a TAL bit crusher. You can use any distortion for this, really. I guess this just really crispens up the high end a lot crisper. Just turn the dry wet down a lot. Really, I think it was like half. Not. Then I left it. Turn up the high shelf and the low shelf down. This might even be like the stock patch that it just comes in. I thought it sounded perfectly fine. 3 on the sample rate and 12 on the bit depth. You can see right there, volume was like exactly where it started out. If you don't have this, you can use anything you want. Any distortion plugin would work the best. If you have some kind of like multi-band distortion, I don't even know if they make that, but that would be amazing. Just maybe on like the mids and the highs, not too high, but like be like any distortion plugin would really work for this. I mean, TAL Bit Crusher, you can just go get any of the TAL products for free anyways, so there's no need to not go download this. It's an amazing plugin. Personally, it's like one of the best bit crushers I've ever tried. Same with their reverb. It's the best reverb I've ever used. I just prefer their products a lot. Like them a lot. Anyways, we did negative 17.8 decibels of wet, I guess, reverbed sound. Assuming the way this reverb works is it has plain old dry sound just coming out straight through it, and then it kind of branches off into the wet. Combine the two. Wet down. So I took all the delay, the room size all the way off, and I took out all the lows. Anything under, not all of them, but negative, I decreased the volume by negative 18 decibels at 483 hertz and under, basically because reverb on the lower areas, unless it's like kind of like a kick hit, something is always going to be just attracting mud, and it's not good if you ask me. So I know this tutorial is taking really long, but it's touchy sound and there's lots of stuff that's going into it. So I'm trying to hurry it up from here. So basically that's enough with that. We don't really need to worry about stereo width because we're doing it here. I centered all the lows, not that we have very many at all. Those with 178 hertz. Then I widened by like half, 50%, the low mids, because this is what really makes a sound wide. because that's a large, fatter, bigger chunk of the song. The stuff up here is really flimsy, I guess you could say. That's why if you don't have any stuff down, that's what's really giving us its width. It's really wide down there. But I also widen up this even more because of the fact that it's a lot more, I guess, width to make the high end sound wide. So I widened that, and normally I would center that all the way, but I didn't. Just very lows and the very highs centered. And that's enough with the actual main patch. Now here's the sub. I'll just go over it real quick. I'm pretty sure I've done this in Reels. Sub that I layered under the laser or whatever, where it was. But it's basically just the two sine waves, 2 octaves down, and one is 1 octave down. I still might be playing it on E4 kind of note, but again, it doesn't really matter. Just as long as you play it where it hits your speakers hard, that's all that. The main thing that is going on here is really just the volume on this second oscillator, like less than the first volume, because we don't want too high pitch to sound like a tonal sub. A little bit of tonal sub is good in my opinion, but the main sub you want is the one that's going to make speakers kind of rumble and make the cars rumble, but I think the tonal area is more of the kick area, so I like to keep it out as much, but it just kind of helps bring it through on headphones, so a little bit of higher octave. But anyways, I did a cutoff. Cutoff here and the cutoff there are really not doing much at all because of the fact that it is a sub. The main thing that's going on here is the attack delay system. Basically, all I did was set it up so that it would make a plucking sound. More hitty type basses, or like if there's like a growl or something that's hitting real fast, then I'll put it under it, like a laser, or just kind of helps make it a lot bigger. I guess a laser with no sub doesn't sound good on car speakers, club speaker, monitor. Just doesn't sound good. It's just like a blank, dry area. Song. Bass is good. Who doesn't love bass? One move. So that's the sound. I hope you guys like this tutorial. I know it was extremely long. It's 23 minutes and 4 seconds right now. But if you guys like this, please subscribe, like, share, all that good stuff. Tell your friends, of course, in the past. And if you guys could, from now on, start sending me messages on SoundCloud videos, the requests for the sounds, because I'm getting a lot of stuff on YouTube, and even though I only have like 50 subscribers or whatever, but it's just a lot easier to see it all on SoundCloud in a nice organized fashion. And not only that, it's a lot easier to fulfill promises, I guess, when I'm seeing them constantly. So yeah, hope you guys like this tutorial, and I'll see you guys later.